boldip.com.
Oh, hello everybody. Looks like we're at the Bold Inventor Show. First sound is ooh. Made them so. Anyway, we're live. We're live at 2 out of 3 channels today: LinkedIn and YouTube. We've been X'd out of X for some reason today, but I'm excited to share our awesome show again. I'm JD Houvener, owner-founder here at Bold Patents Law Firm, and I'm accompanied with my trusty co-host, Matt Kulseth.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hi, JD.
Hey, Matt, good to see you. Happy to have you on. And, what's nice Wednesday here is spring. We're sort of embracing spring everywhere.
Yeah, we are too. It's nothing green here in Minnesota yet.
Okay.
But it's a nice day out. It must be like 50 degrees. Oh, it's 60 degrees. It's nice out.
Yeah, for sure. Things are blooming. We're definitely rocking and rolling out here in Moses Lake. I even got the pool.
We need 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks. Okay, you're still kind of thawing out in a way up there. Yeah, well, I got the pool filled up, so I'm gonna have that ready by May. Get early.
I didn't know you were a pool guy.
Yeah, I'm a pool guy. I'm the pool boy.
Wait, about you now.
Yeah.
Is it above ground or are we talking below ground?
Right. Above ground. So I'm entry level, but it's okay. It takes a lot. It's a salt water. Okay.
You're just getting, it's a salt water. So you're just getting your feet wet.
Yeah.
I love it.
For sure. So anyway, in fact, I just called my insurance company today. No joke. I was like, hey, this thing pops. Am I covered? And 10 minute break. No, you're not. So I got to be careful on that.
All right.
So for those of you maybe joining for the first time, I said we got 5 viewers out there. We are attorneys, but we're not going to be giving any legal advice away today. Sorry. We're talking legal information and sharing the laws. Our, answers on questions that are hypothetical. So please don't share anything confidential. This is not the forum for that. But fire away. Please feel free to ask away any questions you've got, things on your mind. We'll be happy to answer those and take those as priority today. We've got 2 special guests today. Our title here talks about one of those guests, Peter Petroulas. Hopefully I'm saying that right, with the Whiz Butler. We'll be interviewing him first. And then Carlo Cooper with Cooper Groove. And so we'll be having that 2 back-to-back interviews here in just a minute.
I love it. Double
header. Pretty exciting. I mean, this is the good stuff, right? Talking with inventors that are actually out there doing it. And so I thought we could skip our Q&A portion for this week and spend some more time with our guests. So I know we did a pre-session with Peter, so he's all ready to go. Let's bring him on, Matt. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Okay. Peter, welcome to the stage, the Bold Inventor Show.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
So good to have you. And could you pronounce your last name for me?
Petroulas.
Okay. I was in the ballpark. That's great. So would you please let us know what is Whiz Butler? And how long ago did you start it off?
Look, the journey probably started more than 10 years ago.
Okay.
So it's not something that's recent. And I guess the reason the journey started is because I was a restaurant operator. And then as a restaurant operator, you start seeing all these new systems come in, like booking systems. And they're the flavor of the month. And that's sort of in Sydney, in Australia, it was about 2010, 2012, where they started becoming popular. So then I put them in my restaurants. And then the next thing that happened is on Saturdays, I started getting calls from regulars and the people I knew who'd gone online said, hey, and after they couldn't make a booking, so they'd call me and say, went there, you're 100% full, according to your online system. Can you squeeze me in? I really need to get a table for 6. Yeah. Then I'd go to the booking system, have a look at it. I was 40% empty. And then you start scratching your head saying, hang on, this thing ain't working.
I've heard a lot of these systems out there for restaurant bookings. Right, Matt? So Open Table, I know I've used that before. Is this somewhat like that? Or is it solving the same problem?
It's solving the same problem, but the problem that I guess that all these systems have, like Open Table and 7 Rooms and Yelp, is their approach and their logic dates back to 1765. And nothing's changed.
There's a story here. There's an absolute story.
Hold on. Wow, we're going way back. I'm like, when was the Constitution? Okay, all right, here we go. They carried it through. Yeah, good.
So, because what happened back then was 1765 was a creation, as they call it, of the first modern restaurant. And by modern restaurant, what they say is it was the first time you'd actually go into one of these establishments and they just didn't give you a plate of food. They actually gave you a selection of dishes, and then you could choose which one you wanted. So it was a creation, and it started the a la carte approach.
Okay.
And
as opposed to just the bucket of stew in the by the fire.
that, that's it. So when you had that, then the first step that happened, most of these places were quite small. So the person would go in, waiter would ask them what they wanted, they would tell the chef what it was, they would bring out the food. So your waiter did everything. So he was a complete autonomous system, if I can call it that way. Then as restaurants got bigger, the person who took your order was not necessarily the person who delivered your food, because they created this concept of a food runner. So now you needed to communicate to the food runner which table he had to take the food to. So they came up with this idea of tables. So then each table has a table number, which we all use today. So, you're on table 36 or 25 or whatever it is. So that's all terrific. And then, again, going back in history, because people started arriving in different group sizes, they then turned around and said, okay, we can push two tables together and call it a table combination. So then you had your table one, what is for two people, or table one plus table two is for four people. So they created this concept of tables and table combinations, which is now taking you back to sort of 1765. So it's then when Open Table started its first system, because they were the first online booking system.
Fast forward 250 years.
So now, yes, we're now in 1998. Okay, so Open Table was the first booking system, then went through, seen tables and table combinations, said, hey, it makes sense to me. So they created basically a search out. They created a pool where they put in all the restaurants' table numbers and table combinations and how many people each table or table combination would take. Then they used a search algorithm to basically come in and say someone would request a table, let's say it's 7 o'clock for two people. The search algorithm would go in, say, is there a table for two people at 7 o'clock? All very simple, works perfectly. There's a huge problem though. And that is that a search algorithm can only give you what you've asked it. And that is, there's a table of two available. But what happens when there's 20 tables of two available? Which table do you actually allocate the booking to?
Okay.
Now, that's the problem, because when you allocate the booking to that table, you don't know what the next booking request is going to be, and the next booking request, and the next booking request. So whatever table you put it on, theoretically, it could be the wrong table, or it is the wrong table, because it's sort of a little bit like a game of Tetris, where you've got to put all these bricks in, all these bookings, in a sensible way. And when you're sort of using these tables and table combinations, you've created mathematical terms an optimization problem. And that optimization problem is NP complete. And all mathematicians know a computer cannot solve an NP complete problem, even if you give it 100 years of computational time.
Okay.
And that's the problem. So when because when you then in effect start allocating these bookings at random, or even if you think you're using logic, your logic is still wrong because you don't know what the next booking is. And that's what creates a problem, because you end up with all these bookings scattered around your restaurant and you've got empty tables trapped between the book tables.
Okay. So you're saying the current algorithms by most, and we use OpenTable as an example, uses all current, before Wiz Butler, right? Okay. Use a mathematical sort of a fixed booking to a table instead of allowing there to be adaptation of table quantities and just having that sort of allocation instead of a reservation.
So correct. Every single booking system, when a new booking request arrives, make a permanent allocation on a floor plan has already got fixed allocations on it. Okay. Now
it's static, essentially, right? I'm got a reservation on table 33 at 6:30. Hold it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's crazy because and then the booking comes in from a high-end client who wants 10 seats, and that's 32 and 34 no longer, they can't be used anymore because you've got 33 already locked in.
That's 100% correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So what we found with our research is when a restaurant is about 60% to 65% full, that fragmentation starts rejecting bookings. And most restaurants actually don't know that they're actually rejecting bookings when they're only 60 to 65% full. That's huge.
Yeah.
And then when you get a restaurant that's actually 100% full, to get those perfect matches in between, the demand profile for that service actually needs to be 150%. So it's not that restaurants can't fill up with these systems. They can, but their underlying demand profile is actually 50% more than their capacity.
Yikes. Wow. Interesting.
That's interesting.
Okay. So have you implemented this? Does this actually work?
Well, 100%. I've been working on the software for 5 years, testing for the last year.
Goodness sakes. So go ahead.
What I did is, if you go back to what they're doing in their allocation system, they're basically using a two-dimensional framework where you've got tables down one axis and then you've got the booking times across the other. Yep. So as soon as you have tables on an axis, then you can't move the tables. You can't rearrange the tables. So when I looked at it, because of my background, what the limiting factor for a restaurant is actually its space. And once you start talking about space and you start saying, okay, my restaurant, that's its length, that's its width, this is my space, this is where columns are. Now what you've done is you've taken the tables off the axis. Because you've taken the tables off the axis, they're now free to move within your grid. So what we've done is turned around and said, firstly, space is your limiting factor. How you rearrange the tables depends on your booking sizes as they come in. And then what we do each time a booking request comes in, and this is obviously before service, because during service you don't want to have these musical tables or Tetris game going on. What we do, we unseat everybody. We add the new booking request together with all the unseated bookings. Okay. Then when you make your allocation, you're making it with full knowledge at that point in time. So if you go back to the scenario of a VIP who always wants to sit on table one, because everybody's unseated, you can put the VIP on table one. If you have someone who wants to pay you a little bit more because now you're sort of getting into revenue management because they want a private booth or they want a view or whatever, well then you can actually allocate them there. And you go through.
I got a question for you, and I've got a little bit of background about you, and I think you know this answer, but this is probably how companies like Southwest Airlines do their magic, is it not?
Yes. Look, Southwest is actually very, very lucky because prior to me sort of getting in the restaurant industry, I spent 15 years in aviation. And people have tried to use revenue management in restaurants for 40 years and failed. And the reason they failed is because with an airline, they come back, and if you've got a family of 4 traveling and there's 4 seats left and they're not next to each other, that's okay because they just split the family. So therefore they can use revenue management because they can always guarantee their inventory is 100% full because they split the customer. In a restaurant, you can't split a family of 4. They've got to be on the same table. So when you have flexible inventory, then what Southwest does, or American or United or anyone else, doesn't work. So you've got to be able to manage your inventory before you can apply revenue management. That's where WizButler comes in because now we can actually reallocate, rearrange in real time. And for the first time, you have proper revenue management because whatever all the other systems have been doing up until now, they call revenue management, but really it's just a discounting system. They've got, discounts for happy hour. They've got discounts for off-peak. While what I'm talking about is actually giving people the ability to upgrade, for if they want an extra benefit or something additional, then you're upgrading that process.
Love it. I want to show off your website here a little bit. wizbutler.com. It's hard to miss this logo here, US patented. So, for the most part, business methods and algorithms are really tough alone to get patented. You must have come up with some nice, good language with respect to, how to showcase what the novel implementation is for a specific restaurant. How did you overcome that?
Look, I've actually got 2 US patents, 2 core US patents, if I can call it, with a lot of continuing applications as we keep trying to expand that protection. Because no one had ever ventured into space as a management within a restaurant, our framework is very broad. It's not prescriptive. And if you look at the claim, it's as simple as receive a new booking request, unseat previous bookings, add them together, reallocate them.
Okay.
That is as simple as the claim is on the patent. And that's sort of the space patent. And then we've got another patent that's to do with robotics and robotic waiters. And what this...
I'm going to try to speed you along, Peter. I hate to do this, but okay, so let's talk about some hurdles and challenges you've had. We have a lot of people listening on this call that can appreciate some of the success you've had and know that it's taken 10 years. Tell me about your toughest spots. If you could tell yourself, looking back, what you would do differently, next time.
Look, I mean, the thing is, with patents, I mean, they take a long time. There's a lot of backwards and forwards because they go in there, they do a search, the entire world's database, they find the word reservation, then all of a sudden, you've got 150 documents that you've got to go through and talk to them and sort of explain to them why their use of the word reservation is completely different to yours. So that process is very long and lengthy. But I guess the way I sort of see it, sort of like going to a casino. When you've got to go there, you've got to play the game. And as a small person, if you don't play the game, then you've got nothing. So whether you like it or not, you've got to go and do it. And the reason I sort of say it's a little bit like a casino is you go and put your patent application in. As soon as you put your patent application in, everybody knows what you're doing because it's published. So then if you actually don't get your patent, then that's where the casino comes in. You've lost all your money. Yep. Or if you do, then at least, you've got a chance going forward. Yeah,
and so with patents, I mean, it's really a shield. You're really preventing anyone else from doing this. You're blocking your competitive advantage. And so I wanted to ask if you've seen any infringement, anybody else trying to rip you off since you've got this published.
At the moment, what they've all done is they've changed their terminology. So they're no longer talking about tables and table combinations. They're talking about spaces and areas. To give the implication that's different. They've gone and they've created what they call dynamic allocations. But these allocations are after a booking has either been taken or rejected. So they're sort of after the event things. So they haven't infringed, if I call it that way. But what they've done is they're sort of working around it to give the impression that we're the same.
So they're more reactive in terms of how they're allocating these tables, where you're very prescriptive with these are the spaces that we have, these are the clients that are coming in this night, and this is how we're going to optimize for space.
Well, what we do is for each restaurant, we've got to put their floor plan to scale in the system. We put the furniture to scale. So then all of a sudden, and they'll turn around, for example, and say, hey, don't sit anyone here because it's a blind spot when we come out of the kitchen. We can see, there's a fire exit there, so we don't put anyone there. So we put all those constraints in. We talk to the restaurant as to how they would do it because, maybe they sort of put people in one section first before another section. And then when the allocations are done, it would be identical to what the restaurant manager would have done himself had he been there 24/7 real time.
Lovely. Peter, we don't have a whole lot of time. I wanted to take a minute, if we could, on your branding. And we've got Matt here. We're at Bold. We help inventors with bold patents and trademarks. So, Wiz Butler, have you decided to register that?
He's got a big trademark.
Hey, nice. What do you mean, Matt?
He's got Wiz Butler is published for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 classes at the USPTO.
Oh my gosh!
He went all in.
Good work. Goodness
Look,
sakes.
if you go all in with the patent, you've got to go all in with the trademark.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So
Good.
yeah, let me know if you need help filing those statements of use at some point. Let me know because I know it's gonna be complicated. So,
Appreciate it.
okay.
Good. Well, Peter, okay, give us a 30-second. What's coming up this year? What are your big goals? What's coming up in the next couple of years for you?
Well, I think it's now rolling out the system. And again, I'm really looking for a different way to do it because my whole approach has always been go back to first principles, look at it from scratch, and do it differently. Because if you're just another person doing the same thing, I don't think you'll end up where you want to get to. So now it's sort of going through that process of understanding we're working in the gig economy, understanding people work from home, seeing how I can build that into the distribution process.
It's fantastic. Well, thank you again for coming on our show. Thank you for being a bold inventor and sharing your story with us here today. I'm going to put you backstage. Hang tight if you want. If you're able to hang in there to the end of the show, we'll do a critique, bold Shark Tank critique, and we'll chat with you later. Thanks again, Peter.
Thank you.
All right, Matt,
Cool.
and everyone else, we're ready for our second guest.
Let's do it.
You ready? Stretch out. Let's do it.
Good.
We've got to get loose because we've got Carlo Cooper with Cooper Groove coming on our show. Carlo, welcome to the program.
How's it going? I had to use my phone because I need to get an updated laptop, but it's great to see you guys.
So good to see you in live in color action.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So glad we got you on video because for our live audience, we'll be able to show off maybe some physical objects you might have close by if you got a hand or two. So,
are we talking thundersticks today? Are we talking golf?
Oh, well, you'll see. You don't have to ask me questions.
All
I
right.
did see a musical note behind you. So is that I believe
Yeah,
that's
the framework. I'm going to do a giant treble clef on my wall.
Cool.
okay.
I'm a drummer, so I love the treble clef for some reason. It's my favorite symbol.
It's an interesting shape, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
All right, we'll show your website off a little bit, but CG, you have this cool slogan, best in grip technology.
Mm-hmm.
Let us in. How did you get started with this and where are you going?
So, the expression necessity is the mother of invention. Well, as a drummer, I've been playing drums for a long time. Your hands slip, drumstick handles are smooth. Usually they're lacquered. So your hands slip. So my hands were slipping, from sweat and just, getting tired from squeezing the sticks. So I would sand my sticks and then I would tape them. But I refused to wear gloves. That's really where this all begins. Because I'm like, I'm not going to wear gloves and play the drums. There's just no way. Like, unless I really, really had to. Because it just cuts off your connection. It's a very organic instrument. It's been around for hundreds of years. You're connected to it with your hands, your feet and your hands, right?
Yeah.
So I made some scratches down the stick, and then I decided, hey, I'm going to design this. So I ended up making grooves in the handle, found out how to do that. It was a big journey. Actually, it's good to talk to you guys right now because I'm just embarking on my next decade of Cooper Groove.
Congratulations.
So, thanks, man. So on the side, I launched the sticks, and then I came out. There's a rubber-based water resin that's a little tacky, but you can see the grooves. So I have utility and a design patent for the grooves. I sold like 12,000 pairs on the side, starting out of my apartment, with unbelievable testimonies, mind blowing.
So 12,000?
12,000 just on the side. Then that's over the last 8 years though. But that's from people recommending them. I've never really pushed them out there. I got 3 kids. I've had a job and all that. So, and I've developed other products. But when I got these testimonials back, I literally had tears in my eyes because I knew they increased your grip, because it's not a smooth, slippery handle. And I knew the air could get in there. There's air, there's gaps, there's 20 grooves in the handle, and I knew they tingled your pressure points, right? It's not a dull surface. You have 3 major nerves in your hands. I had no idea they eliminate pain. They decrease or eliminate fatigue, shock, slips, cramps, drops, gloves, tape, wax. I mean, they're miracle sticks. I have drummers that have fingers sewed back on that have arthritis, tendonitis, carpal tunnel, cerebral palsy, you name it, all these different issues. And, they can't hold on to the sticks, or it hurts when they do. But because these touch on your nerves, they don't hurt them. So, I mean, I have literally 5-star across the board, life-changing reviews. And when I found out that they eliminate pain, I'm like, I have to do this. Like, I would be a real jerk to not really get it out there and help more people. So then long story short, now I'm working with baseball bats. But let me point out that the
Yeah.
drumstick handle has always looked this smooth for about 600 years, right?
Yeah.
I changed it after 600 years. Now it's no longer something that just strikes objects. It's a constant connection. That's what it's about, man. You never lose the connection with what's in your hands.
Hmm.
So luckily that design is truly a breakthrough. I mean, it's been beta tested beyond belief. So I decided to put it into baseball bats because what the grooves also do is they display shock, right? It's not a solid surface.
Hey, Carl, let me interrupt you just for a quick sec. Let's
Yeah.
get a little bit nerdy and technical. I mean, did you have to spend some time and be like, oh, I want a 43.5 degree angle, or I want
good question.
Did you go there? Did you go test back and forth and dial it in?
Well, what I did is, so I started with just like a hacksaw in a basement,
Yeah.
But
Right.
then when I got this local guy here, he put the sticks on a CNC machine with a 90-degree grooving bit.
Okay.
So 90 degrees is like the ultimate angle because any less, it's just not significant enough, and you don't want, and it's very comfortable because the grooves go on an angle, they're flush with the surface, so it's not like but you know what I mean? And then they
Yep.
form to your hands because they're on angles. So I guess, it's kind of an intentional happy accident. So now I'm working with baseball bats. You just, it's like, it's so much work, especially if you're doing it on your own with limited capital, kids, jobs. I got 2 cats running around here. So now I'm working on baseball bats.
So the utility patent is on grooves around a cylindrical object. Is that it?
Well, it's on the drumstick as a percussion, mallets and percussion. But
Yep.
inside the utility patent, it mentions every, golf, baseball, bats, everything. And it mentions any material. But I don't, I also have a design patent for the drumsticks. And then I got a design patent for the baseball bats. Same concept, bigger object, much, much bigger market. You're talking like the baseball bat market, the wood bat is like 12 to 15 times size of the drumstick market.
Right. I mean, in terms of professional sports, I believe they're the highest paid, and so it's a lot of money in baseball. So that's very exciting. Talking about same question I asked Peter. I mean, you've been doing this for a while. Have you noticed any copycats? Counterfeits? Anybody ripping you off?
No,
yet.
man, bring it on, dude. Like no
Okay.
one's doing anything.
All right.
They're honestly, and I'm not bragging because one day I will frame the paycheck I write myself, but I'm not bragging, but there's nothing like this on the market. And having a CNC machine that holds 6 sticks and does one at a time for years and years and running all these patterns, I've seen all the other patterns. And this is the one that works, it's like the perfect groove, as cheesy as it sounds. There's like the perfect groove. And if the groove is too big, compromises the strength of the handle, it's uncomfortable. It could, cause, your hand blisters. It could hurt you. It's not comfortable. So, but like I said, this has been beta tested beyond belief right now, at least as far as the drumsticks go.
Okay, so let's talk about baseball bats because that's really the market you're going for now. Walk us through what's your approach. Obviously, it's a completely different market segment from musicians and drummers. How are you getting in? How are you getting your start?
So first of all, like I'll show you that this is the baseball bat. Again, the grooves go into the handle, right? So you're not adding in our culture. Wrap it, tape it, fix it, suppress it, put a cushion, do this, do that. That takes away from your grip. I took away from the product, So, but with baseball, it's not easy. But my sister's a flight attendant for Delta, and she's my biggest cheerleader out there in the world, even though she's like 5'4". But she met this scout for a very well-known Japanese team, and he's an MLB retired scout here in the U.S. So he scouts these MLB guys to go over to Japan and play, before they get into the MLB to make some money and get their career going. So he's actually helping me out, man. He's a blessing, really unbelievable.
That is cool. I mean, now, are you gonna try to get these in hands of baseball players? Maybe you already have, and get some.
Yeah, like the testing I've done hasn't been with the professionals, but I've had adults, college, high school, and I get the same feedback. It didn't sting my hands a bit, even if it was cold out, even with no gloves. So right now, I'm having my machine. It's down in Alabama. I'm having it shipped up to Chicago. It'll be modified to be able to do the bats.
Cool.
And then I'm going to get a small batch of bats and get it going. But right now, I had a very good investor meeting yesterday. So if I can get an investor, I'm just going to contract a baseball bat company to make bats, make the bats and do the grooves and all that, because I don't really make anything. So, it's not what I do.
Yeah, amazing. And in terms of the performance, it's really not. I mean, I don't know what the rules are. I'm not an MLB, but I mean, would they be able to use a bat like this, or would it have to go through some sanctioning body to get it?
Yeah, I suppose it's not. You're not adding. It's not a grip on it, right?
Well, here's the thing: is I know the MLB regulations. So I'm not as smart as I look, but okay, from 0 to 18 inches up the handle, right? You can modify the handle, but it has to be one solid piece of wood.
Right.
But after 18 inches is where most of the balls strike. So you can't alter the wood, put metal in there, or change the shape. But you can alter the handle, and it vibrates just like a regular bat. But when your hands are on it, you don't feel that electricity going through it. You don't. Plus, your hands it's like it's honestly like an anomaly, because as soon as you grip this, your hands relax, and then when you relax, you perform way better. Obviously, in anything. You know what I mean? So so this isn't easy, man. I mean, I always do the hard stuff, but it's awesome. I love it.
Okay, I'm going to show up your website a little bit, and is that how you plan to go to market? Is through online?
Well, my new website's about to come up now, so this is like just my website. But so right now, I'm talking to investors. I'm getting my machine up here, getting bats. I have access to the world of Japanese baseball and baseball in the United States, so that's really key. Like these, and then he knows other people that can get these bats into hands and get some feedback on them, because the pros have never swung the bat, but everyone that holds on to it, I mean, it just feels great. It just absolutely, and you could use gloves, or you don't need to have gloves. It's not really up to you.
Yeah. And in terms of what the customer's going to see, and this kind of goes to trademarks, what branding are they going to see, and how are you going to protect them?
Well, the grooves are patented, design patents for the baseball bat. Sure. But as far as, I'm not sure if I'm going to, I might private label bats, because I do want to. The other thing about the bat handles is, you can't tell in this picture, but this is 0.97 inches in diameter. It's not even an inch in diameter. So a drumstick is a half inch in diameter, and you're only hitting, drums. Then you're hitting a ball coming at you going 80, 90, 100 miles an hour. So, so basically, so what I want to do is I want to make the handle thicker, because I want to do like a 1.10 inch handle, because you're already going to take away from it with the groove. So it's going to feel a little smaller, but you're going to have more power, and you're not going to, you're going to relax more. You know what I mean? You're not going to have to wrap your fingers around it, because, when you tighten your fingers, you can see the blood, like the blood doesn't flow,
Well, I imagine
I've learned a lot about hands and all that. So yeah,
this is pretty cool. I worked at Boeing. They did a lot of what's called fatigue testing. I mean, how many swings of the bat can this hand? If you're cutting into it, a normal bat, one that's cut is probably not going to fail sooner. Is that kind of one of the other reasons why you might be getting the diameter larger?
That's one small reason. What's so interesting about this technology? So how like a new innovation comes out, and then there's no law for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, so they both major baseball bat universities cannot right now, unless I paid them a ton of money, cannot test my design, because all they test is the bat. They shoot balls at it, hit it with a hammer. But what about the human hands? That's the whole paradigm shift. When you buy a bicycle, $5,000 bicycle, the grips are not good. You probably, get blisters, or your hands will sweat. You're on a $5,000 bicycle, and how you connect with it is like, I had a Harley, I had a $20,000 Harley, and my right hand would go numb. We're going 80 miles an hour, and my right hand's going numb. That's, so in other words, it's how we connect. I want to, let's look at the handle. Let's look at the grip. If you can, get rid of the gloves, get rid of the wrap, feel what's in your hands. If you wear gloves and play the piano, good luck, man. You're not going to sound too good, But so, and also I have some gloves I'm designing too that will complement the grooves into the handle of the bat. So there's a lot to be done. Just got to get some gas in the tank,
Yeah, well, best of luck. Sounds like you had a good call yesterday with the investors, and happy to have you on our show. Thank you for sharing your story a little bit.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
I always ask this, but one of those, would you sort of give yourself advice. You've been doing this for 10 years, things you might do differently next time. What are those kind of like, I wish I would have? Do you have
One of the things is, it depends on your personality too, but if something is about, could happen, like, just keep your feet on the ground. Like, don't be too attached to the outcome, because my sticks were supposed to be licensed by a bigger company, and they just, didn't have the manpower or whatever, and they blew it off. But when I thought they were going to license, I'm like, wow, man, like Stuart Copeland and all these famous drummers are going to be using my sticks, or making their own designs, more grooves, less grooves, whatever. But it never happened. So I was really upset. So you got to keep your feet on the ground. And then, it's tricky out there, man. I know why most people don't do this, because it's not easy. But if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it,
Yeah.
So like I said, I picked the hard stuff, man. I did stand-up comedy. I actually play in a rock band. I mean, I do the stuff that people won't do. A lot of people won't do. And, whatever, everyone's different, but.
It's so cool. Jonathan Mitchell's been commenting here as you've been talking. He says, get the product to Teacher Man Hitting. If you've ever
there's a lot of good YouTubers out there.
Aaron Judge's hitting coach, a YouTube channel. So,
thanks, man. Yeah. Yeah. What? The biggest problem is, if you got to have money to do this. You know what I mean? Like, bootstrapping sucks, man. Like, it really does. It's tough. But I've had family help me. I've had people help me. But I have so much potential right now, billions of dollars worth of business that I can be doing. And all I need is I have the patents, I have the products, I have the proof. Once I put gas in the tank, man, I'm on a road trip. I can get stuff done. I have golf grips I designed. They're the most tactile golf grip on the market. And so I'll explain something really quick. So there's 3 different features of a grip, right? There's the size and the shape. Then there's the material it's made of, rubber, vinyl, TPU, whatever. The third feature is missing: the tactile feedback, the communication that it gives your hands. It's zilch out there. And especially if you're going to put gloves on, like even this design with gloves, you're going to feel those grooves. So number 3 is where I'm filling in the gap.
Cool.
Thank you there. It is Carlo, or do you go by Cooper?
You can call me Cooper. That's fine. Either one. When I say my name is Carlo, everyone's like, "Hey, Carlos." I'm like, "No, the S is silent." So whatever. You can call me either one. I don't care.
Cooper it is.
Yeah, call me the Cooperator, whatever you want. Yeah.
Rater. Nice. Well, thanks again. We'll put you backstage. We're going to go to our next segment. But again, thank you again, Cooper, for sharing that.
Thanks for the advice and the tips. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Good stuff, Matt. It's so good.
Yeah, we're 2 for 2 today.
2 for 2. Too bad it's not Tuesday.
On good interviews.
What's that, Matt?
On good interviews. These guys are great.
Absolutely. Well, good. Let's go to our Shark Tank segment. I'm going to swap over on audio. We'll go ahead and begin your singing music interlude, Matt, at any time.
You got it.
Okay.
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm singing really loudly right now.
Oh, you're on mute. Dang it.
Oh, man, missed it.
Shoot, here we go. Oh, yeah. I know how to do that. I've only done this like 100 times. So fun. I haven't previewed this. I don't know what it's going to be good. It'll be real good.
First into the Shark Tank are Sarah Pond and Mike Hartwick, who believe they're on the cusp of the next big fitness craze.
Hi, Sharks. I'm Mike Hartwick.
And I'm Sarah Pond.
We're here to present our company, Surfset Fitness. We are seeking $150,000 for 10% equity in our company.
Surfset Fitness is surf-inspired exercise equipment and group fitness classes.
This is the Rip Surfer X. It's the world's first total body surf trainer. We've designed it to mimic the instability of a surfboard on water.
And we have here with us Lakey Peterson. She's one of the top 10 female surfers in the world. And she's here to show you a few of her moves. So Lakey's going to walk through the pop-up. This is one of our moves in Surfset. It's extremely challenging. It's an athletic move. She's going to use her arms, her core, balance, stability. You can see she's rocking side to side, all about the imbalance. Now she's going to show you how a surfer would dive under a wave. This is called a duck dive. You can see she's engaging her triceps, her chest, really working the arms, the core. And we're going to finish with what we call a water walker. So it's similar to a one-legged squat. You can see she's trembling a little bit. She's engaging every muscle in her core, her legs.
So we're here today, Sharks, because we have more interest in orders than we can handle, and we need your help.
That looks like it's very hard for the average person to do any of those exercises. That's quite complex. It's very difficult to stay stabilized. Let's take an average bozo like Robert.
Absolutely. The only thing we ask is your shoes off. Get the full experience if you can.
She made it look pretty easy. It didn't look that hard, I got to be honest.
So she's had some experience. So we get up 1 foot at a time.
All right, I'll step up.
There you go. And then bend the knees, get into your carve and your surfing motion. Look at him. Whoa. Nicely done.
What was the really hard move, Lacey? Was it the 1 foot?
1 foot.
Yeah, you go one leg, and then you just go like that, as if you're like stroking through the water with
Like skateboarding.
That's a little
kind of.
harder. Whoa.
Yeah, you gotta find that middle.
It's a little shit.
Certifiers and
To open private studio.
So you're coming here for not only our money, but our strategic assistance. But you're only offering us 10%. Why would you offer us so little?
It might be little right now, but that 10% of a large company is
For the company that we have to work for.
So we don't want you guys to work for us. We want to work for you in a sense. We want you to be able to make a phone call and we want to show up.
How much
And
do you
do what
think
we
those
do.
phone calls cost?
A lot.
It
But we
took
don't
me
want-
20 years kissing a lot of
Right,
butts to get some
exactly.
of those people on my
That's why
road.
we value it so highly.
I'm going to make you an offer because I think that this is a great idea. You could actually go out there and hire professional surfers to be your certifiers and trainers, which would give you a lot of authentication. Because of that, I think you're going to need more than $150,000 in cash to do it right. And in order to make an investment in this, I have to have enough skin in the game. So what I'm going to do is offer you $300,000 for 33%.
What just happened there is he knocked the value down from $1.5 million to $900,000.
But I put you in a position to get out there and not have to stress about how much cash you have for inventory and to not stress about hearing these guys nickel and dime.
You got nickel and dime for 33% just now.
It's an interesting offer, Mike. I see the business a little bit differently. I think you don't need the professional surfer guys. I think they're great, but I think that can be intimidating to a lot of people. The trainers need to be bubbly, energetic. I'll give you the $150,000 because I don't think you should give up that much equity. It's going to go big for 20%.
So a lower valuation is basically what you're saying.
I'm saying keep more equity. Nobody starts a company.
Keep an eye on one thing here as these offers come in, because it matters. You started with $1.5 million ask for the value of what you created here.
You're right
I like
there.
it better than Mark's.
I just want to give you a word of caution.
It's absolute crap. Mike,
No evidence.
oh, come on. Mike, I started a company 9 years ago. 3 guys. We're 160 people today and 100 million in sales. We did 52 million last quarter. This is what this is. You've got a great plan. You got to execute.
I rolled out 6 CrossFit gyms in the last 4 months, as well as a big training program. And if you know anything about CrossFit, it's very hard to get certified.
Yes, but he's a short man, and that doesn't fit your image at all.
Wow, Barbara.
So, Mark, are you in or are you out with Barbara?
Sorry, Barbara. I don't need you on this one. I'm going alone.
Okay, in that case, I'm out.
To all this, and I'm saying to myself, you're either
I think that would be foolish, and I don't think you guys are foolish. That's way too much. So, Mike, I'm giving you $150,000 for 20%.
Talking to me?
Yeah.
A
little bit on the
I'll come down to 30% if you say yes right now.
No, don't do it. A designer alone is going to cost you $150,000.
Push, Sarah. You know the right thing to do here.
Mark, we're going to accept your offer.
All right. Did a deal.
Got a deal with Mark, young
Hey.
Mark.
I know I skipped around a little bit. I didn't want to have too much intro. They didn't talk much about the technology at the initial part of it. Sounds like what they've got was unique. I'm going to go back and watch that. I'm going to pull up the invention. Something like that is pretty involved. And I think if you've got a novel, right, sort of that feature about balancing it, if you've come up with something unique there, then I think you should try to protect that both with utility and design patents. Utility would protect the functionality of that sort of imbalancing, that and maybe even the shape, try to get something specific to surfing or that sort of simulating being in a water situation. That sounds like it's got enough to potentially be patentable, so long as it's novel and non-obvious. design patents can protect the way something looks, which is more about the aesthetics, not what it does. Okay, so design patents will help, and actually can be quite beneficial for enforcement when it comes to a judge and jury will be able to look very simply at the 3D, the way it looks, right, as a design. Does it look similar to the infringing product? And so having both of those is really valuable. We didn't get to hear that today, but we did talk a bit about their strategy for bringing in those surfers and trainers.
Yep.
I don't know. It seems a little bit much. I don't think I'd personally be interested in it, but maybe there's a big enough market for it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't see. It seems to be more of a novelty thing than anything else, in my estimation. I mean, I think I would be curious to see like what an hour-long workout looks like on a surfboard, or on the surf set.
Yeah.
But I can see how maybe gyms would want to purchase one or two of these things, right, for just the training floor, right? I looked at their website. It doesn't look like they're selling these anymore. They're more offering classes.
Okay, more of a service, more of a
service company play. And looking at their website, it's like surfsetny.com. So I don't know if they had plans or they still have plans to maybe franchise and try to open multiple locations or what. But that seems kind of more the direction that they're going, more the service side as opposed to selling the product.
I want to bring our two guests on, see what their thoughts are. I'm going to try to pull up their patent if they filed one. Go ahead, Peter. Do you have any comments or critiques there for the couple?
It's a bit difficult not understanding how it works. Yeah, and I'm sort of like you guys. I can sort of see it working in a gym, potentially.
I'm not putting one in my house, though.
But yeah, I think it's a bit too specialized to be in a house or unless you're a real hardcore surfing person.
Yeah.
And Matt, I forgot to ask you before we go to Cooper, what on the trademark side?
They do have some trademark registrations on the actual product itself in the sporting goods category, and then they've also registered to protect the classes, so those entertainment education services in class 41. They had some other applications that were abandoned at some point. I didn't dig too far into those, but yeah, I think that's probably sufficient for what they're doing currently.
Yep. Cooper, any thoughts on this? If you were a shark, would you bite? Give them some critique. What sort of things might you have done differently?
Well, I think again that's a very niche market. That's man, I'm hanging out at the beach, I'm surfing. You know what I mean? I don't know how much surfing has grown, but again, that's a very specialized. It's a very niche market, but it is a really cool thing, And I don't know if anyone's ever done. Maybe they have done that before. But and again, I don't even know how much. What does it cost? Did they have a price on it? Did they say
let's see. I didn't see it. I do have a Shark Tank update though for our audience. So they originally aired, and you're right, man. It's a long time ago, 2012. What we just watched, season 4 of Shark Tank. They came back on episode 420 in 2022, and so immediately after the 2012 episode, they went on a 24-city nationwide tour. Trying to certify trainers and introduce their Rip Surfer X. They partnered with some big companies on their tour, like Under Armour, Garnier Fructis, Qdoba. But by the end of 2012, they had 29 certified trainers. So pretty impressive start. They kept on going for a number of years. Updating the page in 2021, the website was down. So I think since about 4 years ago, it's been down. And Mike has left the company in 2021. But their page also says they had 350 licensed surf set locations in more than 32 countries. And in 2024, annual revenue was $8 million.
Wow.
So they apparently are doing well. They're still in business. So
that's good. Definitely
cool to hear. They must have figured out, like you said, they've combined both the technology and the training, which is kind of cool,
Well, I think you have to make the best use of your product, right? You got to, maybe you invent, did you ever hear, Wrigley gum? Do you know how that got started? They started the Wrigley building in Chicago. They were, I think it was an office supply company, and they'd give their customers gum, and everyone loved the gum, so they started making gum. So, I mean, it's you know what I mean? It's true, man. It's like you start with, like I started with drumsticks, which were the great landing, but now it's like there's so many, obviously another product I have will be way bigger than drum. I'm developing a wrap. I think that's going to be the biggest one. But you know what I mean? You start here and then you kind of go, oh, you can do this with it, So yeah.
Very cool. So let's see. So Peter, can you give us any insider scoops? Can you tell us what restaurants, anybody going public and using your system, Peter, that we might visit? Any cities we might know?
Look, I mean, at the moment we're sort of in Melbourne and Sydney, and they're the two places where we've been out there in production, in testing, and doing that. So we haven't gone any further than that.
What you're saying is you need a sales rep here in the United States, and if so, they can email you.
with pleasure.
You know what? I had a good question for you. You're familiar with Toast, right? Like the point
Absolutely.
of sale. So are they a competitor of yours, or?
Technically, with my all-in-one system, which is booking, functions, QR code, or any point of sale, yes, they're a competitor.
Okay, yeah, because I know Toast it's a POS system, which you know what I mean. But maybe there's a way to integrate with them. Maybe you have an add-on for them or some way, because they grew really fast, man. You go into these restaurants and they all have Toast as their software. So, but yeah, I love restaurants. So what you're doing is awesome. I mean, everybody likes to go out to eat.
Yeah. At the moment, I've gone alone because all my modules are dynamic. So my POS system is dynamic. Toast's POS system is static. And the reason I say it's dynamic is because, two people can book two different menus. One can have a 3-course menu, another person is a la carte, another person can have something else. And then your POS system automatically changes where Toast doesn't. So at the moment, I've sort of gone completely independent without sort of bolting onto anyone else's system, whether it's a POS system or QR code ordering or anything else.
Sure.
Peter, I got to jump in real quick. So AI, how is that going to impact your product offering?
Look, at the moment, I'm fine because AI hasn't learned how to dynamically reallocate.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been able to solve that MP complete problem. So that's fine.
Even with modern camera technology and space allocation technology.
After this interview, it's too late, Peter. It's out. No, just kidding.
So that's fine. But look, everyone's sort of using AI as AI agents on top of legacy software. And I can't see it working because one of the big things that they're doing is sort of voice integration into the booking system. But the voice integration is into a legacy booking system. So therefore, all you're doing is maybe appealing to a few more customers because they want to communicate by voice rather than, on their mobile phone or doing it through the computer digitally, but it's not helping the restaurant at all. It's zero impact to the restaurant. And with a lot of these things, and I sort of go back 30 years, you didn't have internets, you didn't have all of these things. Now, all of a sudden, you've got all of these people, and now you've got chatbots and everything else going into restaurants, sort of putting their hands in their pockets, and the restaurants can't pass on the fees. So they're being squeezed, and that's one of the reasons you're getting so many closures occurring because a restaurant's no longer a restaurant. They've turned it into this tech jigsaw puzzle.
Right. Gotten away from the food and the simple stuff.
Yeah, what's interesting is my product, you can feel it right away. So I'm lucky, man, because my brain is way too simple for all that other stuff, man. Like, as soon as you hand someone my grip, they go, I understand,
Yeah.
Shark Tank called me up twice and I submitted, but the first time it was just drumsticks. I'm like, I don't think, unless it's chicken drumsticks, it's not a very exciting category. You know what I mean? So
come on, Cooper, you're in a band. You could show up on
oh man, I'll be on, maybe go on Shark Tank someday, but I get these bats going, man. I'm gonna have to hide in my house. People are gonna be hunting me down because it's gonna be such a cool thing,
Love it. I'd love to find a synergy between, you both our guests here. But I don't know, do they play cricket down in Australia? Do they even play baseball?
Yeah. We play baseball, but not in the same league as the States.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, again, after this podcast, notice every handle, every grip you touch, even a steering wheel has not changed, since cars came out. It's been all the little bumps on the other side and the fancy console.
Fuzzy. Yeah, the
But, yeah, it's
fuzzy
the same.
stuff.
Yeah, put the big,
Love it.
get the gold teeth and all that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you both. And thank you, Matt. And for Bold Patents, wishing you guys an awesome day. Thanks for tuning into the Bold Inventor Show. We're going to be live next week at 1:30 on Wednesday. We'll see you then. Go big, go bold.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, good luck, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Go big, go bold at boldip.com.